Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I don't know if you have this impression, let's call it an impression, that some governments do not work in behalf of their nations. So the people who supposedly elected them are not really represented. Actually, the guys in charge of those nations are actually working for outside foreign forces and interests, and that's criminal. That is called treason. We have here the problem with Poland. Poland was made to help Ukraine against the Russians, and many Poles also supported Ukraine against the Russians. Now, not because that's my assessment based on my life experience and literature I've been reading. The Poles don't really like the Ukrainians and vice versa. I know for a fact the Ukrainians don't really. I'm generalizing, So nevertheless, but that's usually done by the historical events between the two countries, two people, two nations actually. But nevertheless, the Poles helped the Ukrainians 100% to decimate their nation. You can look at it that way if you want. If you don't, well, they were just fighting the invader, which was Russia. So in this case, they helped them with refugees, accepting Ukrainian refugees. The Ukrainian refugees were given money from the Polish government, which is the Polish people's taxes. Okay, so they're just distributing. They were very generous in the name of the Polish nation, which is, I guess, fine to a certain extent. But then the Polish government also instituted, and the European Union from Brussels, which right now we have Tusk, who is the Prime Minister of Poland, a Brussels tool actually. They started allowing the Ukrainian grain to come on the Polish markets and cross transit the truck drivers and so on. That angered obviously the Polish farmers who see that their efforts to have a life and compete has been cut. Why? Because the Ukrainians obviously will produce grain at a lower prices. That means will destroy the farmers in Poland. Including the fact that it seems like, from what I heard, that the Ukrainian agriculture is owned by actually big Western/American corporations, agri corporations. Now, I don't know if that is true or not. I just throw it right here so you can do your own research. Therefore, the European Union allows that because the boss told them so. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying it. Maybe we're going to pay attention more on that one. So the Polish farmers started blocking the entrances to their country, that is blocking the Ukrainian grain to from entering their country. Obviously, the government in Poland, instead of saying, hey guys, farmers, what's going on? Then the farmers will tell them what everybody knows. Hey, you guys import cheap grain. We can't compete with that. If we lower our our prices, you're gonna destroy your industry. The Poles received probably that order, the guys in charge are talking, and say, well, screw you. So we have a lot of problems at the border with Ukraine. The Polish farmers are still blocking certain border entrances. And we have here a Polish consul who lives in the Polish side of Ukraine, which is the western side of Ukraine, in Lviv or Lvov. And he calls those farmers, those Polish farmers, in a certain way. That is, I can't believe you guys are Poles. Why? For protesting. So I would like to show you what are the reasons why the Polish farmers are protesting and what is their government doing for or against it. So let's start with the article coming from Ukraińska Prawda. The Polish consul general in Lviv, that's the western side of Ukraine, that Poland will take once Ukraine starts losing big territory in the east. You'll see, they will come in, the Poles, NATO, the Poles will come in and say, we're going to protect lives, we're going to protect our people living in the western western part of Ukraine, as the Russians did the same in the eastern part. But the Russians are not allowed. The Poles and the Hungarians will be allowed. Why? NATO works in mysterious ways. Let's leave it their way. So Polish Consul General in Lviv on farmers' actions at border. Shameful and disgraceful. I can hardly believe they're Poles. So why? And let's see what information Ukrainska Pravda gives us based on this Polish Consul General who should work in behalf of the Polish people. But probably he thinks he works, but I have another article ready for you from the opposition, which is the Sputnik. And it says, why are Polish farmers blockading Ukraine border? And these guys will tell you why. And it's not, don't have to believe them. The information is there on other outlets. The problem is not put over there for us to see at the first glance. You have to dig a little bit. They're not lying to us all the time. They're lying by omission, by hiding, by not giving us the information. I gave you one time for 3 seconds and it's buried down there. You have to dig it over there. The information is still there. They didn't burn it like in 1984 dystopian novel of George Orwell. They didn't burn it yet. They're getting there. So let's see what this guy is saying. And here is a representative rider picture. I think that's fantastic. That's the European Union, and this is the Polish farmer kneeled in front of this guy. And here are the Polish flags. Eliza Dworkiewicz, a Polish consul, so that's a woman. Unless he identifies as something else, or she. Polish Consul General in Lviv has strongly condemned the actions of Polish farmers on the Polish-Ukrainian border and made an apology to warring Ukraine, saying she can hardly believe this is the work of her compatriots. So she, the Polish representative official that represents the Polish nation, apologized to another country for her people's behavior, like a mommy would do for a child. But the child might disagree with mommy's apology, but if the child disagrees, he gets smacked. I just go back in the past. All right, and I'm quoting, I'm not going to pretend that I've seen the shameful things Poles have done on the Polish-Ukrainian border. I apologize to you, dear Ukrainian friends. Is that how your mom talks to the neighbor's kids? Fuck your mom then. I can hardly believe that my compatriots are responsible. Really. All right, what are Polish farmers and holies doing today? I can't believe they are Poles, she said. A true Pole would do what I tell them to do. Would never stab a neighbor who is fighting from freedom, ba-ba-da-ba-da. It's not about the demands, it's about the form of protest. Shame on you. I apologize to warring Ukraine. I'm sorry, shut the fuck up. Now we have here in the background they don't tell us why. You see? They just tell us what the Poles did, but not the reason why. Because here in America, they in every curriculum that you read in social science, I talk about, they say they want to, how do they call it, promote critical thinking. No, critical thinking on the information they give you. So if you come with information that they disagree, there's over there, let's say on an issue, let's say Second World War, and they bring you a narrative. Let's critical thinking. Let's critically analyze the information we allow you to put on the table regarding the issue. But it's a ton more out there. And if you come with it, critical thinking switches into dictatorship, telling you, no, that's the way it is. I don't want to hear about it. Happened to me. But the information is there. The historical events are there. But this is the critical thinking only with the little information that we allowed to be incorporated, so we can reach with our critical thinking, we can reach the right conclusion. All right? That's the way it is, my friends. Life experience and not only. So let's see what the enemy, which are the Russians, tell us and the Poles about what the hell happened and why the Poles that are not Poles did what they did. Don't you want to find as much information as you can about something in order to have a informed assessment? I think if you want to find the truth, yes. If you want to support a narrative, then you ignore it and pick and choose, and you're whatever. Why are Polish farmers blocking Ukraine's border? All right, so the unwillingness of the Ukrainian authorities to resolve this okay, this, I don't care about this one. The tractor flying Polish flags blocked highways and major intersections at the country's border crossing with Ukraine on Tuesday, part of weeks of protests by Polish farmers. And we got here, this is not Poland, this is Berlin, but they cut it right here because over there is that monument for the heroes. Blah, 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 blah. We know that one. Don't fool me. But hey, what do you want? And I'm quoting, first and foremost, the protesters are unhappy with preferential treatment of agricultural products imported from Ukraine on the Polish market, and as a result also to the EU market, Rekash said. So who's Rekash? All right, so Rekash is Polish politician and independent commentator, said in an interview with Sputnik. So this is, you can find this somewhere else. This was the lowest hanging fruit that was like, oh, it's too high. Just let's grab this one. Okay, I didn't want to climb and get, I don't know, CNN or trusted media outlets. So I grabbed the lowest hanging fruit. So the first one, the Polish government should not allow that. So that imbecile, the general counsel, Eliza should not have allowed to suck a big thing for someone else. But they are appointed over there by the same interest, so that she knows what she has to say. Not the second one. However, this does not change the fact that contaminated food, the infamous technical flour, often reaches Europe in uncontrolled quantities from Ukraine, often via Lithuania, friends in crime, partners in crime. Major foreign discount chains in Poland also already source basic products from Ukraine. In turn, the so-called Ukrainian transport companies are neither bound by the legal European Union regulations regarding the minimum wage, nor do they comply with health and safety principles, end quote, the Polish commentator stressed. Next one. The average Pole is no longer wants to shop in a European store for the Ukrainians, and we are horrified to see the falling incomes and rising costs of living of Poles. Ukrainians in Poland are free from these worries because the new sessions extended the tax and social rights of Ukrainians in Poland until June. That means they're going to get your money and they're going to have their products destroy your agricultural industry. All this causes more and more Poles to raise the question, help for those in need? Yes. Ukrainian privileges? Never. So Polish-Ukrainian relations deteriorated significantly last year, influx of grain, due to the influx of Ukrainian grain into the EU. Poland, along Slovakia and Hungary, unilaterally extended a ban on duty-free imports of Ukrainian grain after EU imposed restrictions expired on September 15, 2023. Ukraine reported by filing a complaint by the World Trade Organization. Ukrainian Deputy Economy Minister Taras Kashka said in late September that Kiev would withdraw its WTO complaint against the 3 EU countries if they provide guarantees that they would not restrict grain exports in the future. So now you have, maybe if you didn't have so far, a better understanding, a more complete understanding of why those non-Poles protest the Ukrainian grain influx and the transport. So what do you think? Now, is Eliza a bitch? Is Eliza paid? Is Eliza a loser? Is Eliza working for the Polish people? What do you think? And it's not Eliza. Eliza is just a consul somewhere, sucking something. But the people in Warsaw, the new idiots in charge of Poland, they are the problems. They are the problems because they allow this to go. So the farmers, this is the same thing that it happened in the Middle Ages. You remember in the Middle Ages, you have sometimes some peasants uprisings in Europe. Now these guys, the farmers, are the Middle Ages peasants. a little bit more free, supposedly. Okay, so now they are doing the same thing they did then. Pick their, I don't know, the pitchforks and the torches, and they move towards the mansion of the landowner, the master, and they try to tell him, hey, we're going to burn you if you don't, let us breathe a little bit. And they took their tractor nowadays and they went the border. And they're criticized as being not Pole. And I'm sorry to the guys that actually destroy these guys' standard of living, their lives, their economy, their industry. The problem, as I said, is not Elisa. Elisa is an idiot. Should not be even a dog catcher in a village in Montana or something like that. But she is the consul. How in the hell? You don't work for the Polish people. Remember, the Poles will not, like any other group and any other people, will not all think in the same way. That was the communist vision, Elisa. Anyway, here is, my friends. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.